Rhythm and Roots Lecture 2, Ancient Instruments. Today, we begin with prehistoric musical instruments so that we can better understand the roots of the human impulse to make music. It should be supposed that the earliest human music making was vocal music, people singing in groups for various social purposes such as seasonal rituals, war parties, marriage, and sometimes just to pass the time while waiting for a fish to bite or barley to grow. After all, the human brain seems hardwired for song. Birds and whales have been singing for many similar purposes long before humans began making music. Today, people sing in concert halls, garages, their showers, in supermarkets, churches, and baseball stadiums, at festivals, in palaces, and on front porches. None of these places in specific is required for singing. People can sing anywhere they have a moment of leisure, inspiration, and courage. Similarly, today's songs are written musical forms, but neither are the round, verse, chorus, or sonata allegro form prerequisites to singing. One can improvise a melody that never repeats, formless, or in a form never heard before. As musicologist Christopher Small wrote, many of the world's musical cultures get along very well indeed without any such thing. He defines music simply, quote, to music. Notice that he uses music as a verb rather than as a noun. Is to take part in any capacity in a musical performance, end quote. If humans have musicked for hundreds of thousands of years without instruments, why create them? It has been suggested that the human species being, what people essentially are, is an organism that utilizes natural materials to create. Someday, AI, robots, and other human technological innovations might well write all the songs on the Billboard Top 100, and people would still create their own music as well. Songwriting is part of our species being, what it means to be part of the human species. Beyond music as singing, it makes sense that we would be drawn to fashion the materials around us into musical instruments. Several flutes have been discovered by archaeologists studying the Paleolithic area, a wide span of time between 3.3 million years ago and 12,000 years ago. In the summer of 2008, excavators working in the caves of Swabia, Germany, uncovered a nearly complete bone flute and fragments of 3 ivory flutes. The bone flute was unearthed in 12 pieces, has 5 finger holes, and includes 2 V-shaped notches in one end, probably the end into which musicians blew, like modern vertical flutes, such as the Japanese shakuhachi and the Chinese zhao and the Ukrainian sopilka. Each of these instruments, however, are made of wood. Paleolithic people likely crafted flutes from wood, which is easier to carve than bone. Here is a Ukrainian sopilka player posted on YouTube by Cobblestone Freeway Tours. Sounds like he's playing with a couple other instruments there, right? There's a fiddle maybe some kind of guitar-like instrument there as well. But you got to hear the sound of it, right? It's a small wooden flute that you blow straight down. Bones from cave bears and birds and mammoth ivory offer the earliest evidence of ancient human music making. Because they are thin, strong, and hollow, bird bones were likely the earliest. A crafter of archaeological research, Wolf Hine, who restores and tests reconstructions for museums, recorded himself playing a Paleolithic bone flute. This specimen was a very thin flute made from the radius of a vulture, and the holes were placed to create a pentatonic scale, which is familiar to modern listeners. Wolf Hines' music was posted to YouTube by Amigu135. Interesting. Very thin sound, right? The oldest bone flute discovered was in Slovenia in the Divje Babe cave, which was occupied by Neanderthals rather than modern Homo sapiens, and dates to 43,000 years ago. It was discovered in 1995 and was carved from a juvenile cave bear, possibly a victim of predation, as archaeologists identified animal gnawing on the bone. Lyuben Dymkowski improvised on a clay replica of the Neanderthal bone flute, advised by the archaeologist Ivan Turk. This recording was posted to YouTube by Primož Jakpin. Wow. I find these recordings fascinating, haunting, and they feel in some way like memories, rather than listening to something wholly strange, as one might expect from Stone Age music. Perhaps this is because the musicians we listen to, being modern people, Dymkowski is a professional trumpeter with musical sensibilities any trained Westerner would appreciate. Perhaps these modern sensibilities modify the tone of the flute into modern-sounding music. Or maybe there really is something of our roots in these ancient flutes. Ought I, with my measly carpenter skills, make my own bone flute? YouTuber Than made a video of producing a bone flute out of a deer bone, a process which took him nearly a year, and the result of which were middling. It seems using modern materials, PVC pipes or wood such as bamboo, would offer a leisurely project than bone, though possibly with less personal fulfillment. According to popular archaeology, the oldest drums date to the Neolithic period, roughly 6,000 years ago, and were fashioned from hollowed out logs, gourds, and used animal hides for drumheads. Paintings from ancient Egyptian tombs dating to 3000 BC depict drummers participating in religious ceremonies. As early as 2000 BC, archaeological evidence suggests drums were used for military purposes, to carry messages, and to unify communities, such as in Mesopotamia and China. But as I read, I think, how would archaeologists have recognized similar percussion instruments, such as wooden claves, simpler percussion instruments such as wooden claves or gourd shakers, if they were present in the earlier Paleolithic musical communities? The wood and gourds would have disintegrated. Even a pair of drumsticks made from, say, areca bones might look to archaeologists like any other bones used for any other purposes. Many simple percussion instruments would not be identifiable specifically as musical instruments. Long before the discovery of these bone and ivory flutes, in a 1928 book on Bell, Sadis Coleman wrote of ancient instruments. And here's a long quote of hers. In the early ages of the human race, when primitive man first evoked a vibrant sound from the stone, it must have seemed to him the voice of his God speaking the mysterious language of Mother Earth. For was not stone a part of the sacred underworld? Was not the tree also attached to Mother Earth in a mysterious way? And would not the peculiar sound of hardwood, when struck, seem to have some hidden power attached to it? End quote. Coleman's evocative language of a century ago points to a strong reason we humans make music. To her, the sound of a stone and wood, when struck, must evoke mystery. Music was, for Coleman, a practice of making instruments, singing, dancing, and telling stories. All the works of the Greek muses, and not merely sound. Musicking, in this sense, isn't separate from rhythm, tragic poems, or recalling histories. Something is lost in the act of separating the arts of the muses. Music then inspires mystery, which in turn leads to personal, spiritual, and artistic fulfillment. If musicking is participating in music in any capacity, singing, dancing, instrument making included, but also listening, researching, and writing about music, this lecture has provided me a fulfilling musical experience.